Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sir. Shall I start the session?
So we can start?
No, I will start here.
You are starting. Okay.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone, and good afternoon. So, pumped to see you all here. So, big cheers to Mr. Arvydas Guogis and our awesome participants. You make this special. We are diving into some cool stuff on communication, how to really make it connect. So don't be shy and jump in with your thoughts. Let's keep it fun and interactive. So grab your coffee or juice, something like that. Get comfy and let's crack the code to powerful communication. So, ladies and gentlemen, and dear friends, it's an absolute delight to welcome you all to this exciting session on welfare, typology, and public administration models. Today, it's not just another lecture, it's an opportunity to explore the frameworks that shape how societies care for their people. Whether you are a student or a policymaker or simply someone curious about how governments operate for the common good, this session promises to add value to your understanding. Let's think about this. Every model of public administration reflects a different vision of society. How we define fairness, equality, responsibility, and support. From liberal to social democratic to conservative models. Welfare typology shows as not just how services are delivered, but also what kind of future we are collectively building. These are not just the theories, they are living, evolving structures that affect everything from education to healthcare to our daily quality of life. As we dive in, I encourage you to stay curious and open minded. Let's learn not just to analyze these models, but to imagine how we can be a part of shaping better ones. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Let's use today's learning as that very weapon to build a more informed and compassionate future. So before we begin Mr. Arvida's session, I would like to take a moment to introduce him. So all right, everyone, I hope you are ready for some serious inspiration. So, because today we have the absolute honor of welcoming an extraordinary guest to our session. So, please join me in giving a big and warm welcome to Mr. Arvidas Guogis, a name that resonates deeply in the world of public administration and social policy. With decades of experience, international acclaim, and a genuine passion for improving how governments serve people, Dr. Arvidas is not just a scholar, he is a visionary shaping the future of governance. From his academic roots in Capita, Lithuania, to leading research efforts across Europe, Dr. Arvidas has dedicated his life to redefining welfare systems, public governance, and social security models. As a professor at the Michaelos Romares University, he is not only mentoring the next generation of public servants, but is also contributing powerful insights into to global discussions on democracy and policy reform. With over 100 scientific publications and a decorated career that includes the prestigious Medal of the Order of Gediminas, he embodies the impact one person can have on a nation and beyond. Let's remember this moment, the value of learning from those who have walked the path with passion and purpose. In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So, Mr. Arvidas dream of a world with better governance and inclusive welfare, and today we got to hear from the very man who is making the dream a reality. So, let's sit back and open our minds and get inspired. And before we get started with today's session, I want to take a quick moment to introduce you to Temstech Solutions, a pioneering cities venture that's reshaping the world of technology. At Temstech Solutions, we believe in the power of innovation, excellence, and affordability, ensuring that cutting-edge engineering, management, and scientific tech solutions are accessible to all. As Steve Jobs once said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. We strive to lead the way in transforming industries with our expertise. From digital marketing, web designing, and server management to AI-powered tools and mobile app development, our services scatter to a diverse range of industries, including aerospace and defense, electronics and energy, medical applications, and industrial research. Our commitment to tailored business solutions ensures that every client gets the strategy and technology they need to thrive in a fast-changing world. As Henry Ford wisely said, coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, and working together is a success. And beyond the business, we believe in giving back and building the future. So our initiative, Mastering Up, is dedicated to equipping young learners with the skills they need to succeed. We invite you to join us in empowering the next generation because, as Nelson Mandela also once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Let's innovate and inspire and create a brighter tomorrow together. Okay, so at the end, I would like to introduce the motto of Mr. Arvydas, a fitting and powerful motto for Mr. Arvydas based on his life's work in public administration, social policy, and governance could be empowering societies through knowledge, integrity, and just governance. So, okay, I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Arvidas, and also thanks a lot for joining us today, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, dear listeners and dear organizers. Thank you for invitation me for such occasion. And we shall begin. I shall not put slides because I have only them two, and it will take time to put. We are already late. So I shall begin with this, that it is, of course, now situation awkward, rather awkward to speak about social welfare because we have, many strains, international conflicts, and I know about Jammu and Kashmir situation in India, possible conflict, armed, and we have in Russian aggression against Ukraine, not far from the borders of my country, of Lithuania, and of course there is a possible threat to the Baltic states and Eastern European countries also. So it is, of course, to talk about welfare and social policy, it is, and more normal public administration, it is, of course, necessary to live in more quiet times. But nevertheless, we cannot abandon this theme, and we have to understand the principles, the methods, how it develops, and how it is organized, and what to expect. So I could say that it will be easy for you to understand these my models. I shall not show them on slides. It will be easy and will be presented all historical situation. Maybe not for a long history. We can go the beginning of welfare state to the 19th century. I want to say that welfare state is a special term, special notion, and it is not the same as, for instance, wellness, psychological wellness, psychological feeling, or it is not the same as, let's say, economics of well-being, which means the health of economy as such, or the term welfare society, which is very general and speaks about prosperous society and so on. But welfare state, it is state, public institutions, policies in various fields, social fields, in the health sector, in social security or social protection, in education, in cultural policy, and so on. So it is especially, we have to use it accurately and not to mix with more how to say notions and terms. And of course, Europe is especially how to say seen as of its social model in general, but there is no common social welfare model in Europe. There is no to speak about the single one-sided model. We have several models, but of course they are how to say very much seen if and noticed if compare with other parts of the world, with Latin America, with North America, with Eastern Asia, with Africa. Of course, it is the invention of European states. I have mentioned you the history beginning from Germany of the times of the end of the 19th century, when German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck in United Germany for the first time introduced the state social insurance scheme for the old pensions. So it was the first element in the history of welfare state. But then we had various periods of development, and very liberal in the beginning of 20th century, and then we had the crisis, the general world economic crisis of 29-33 years. So only before the Second World War, there were noticed two examples of strong state interference into economics and social sphere. So it is American New Deal by President Franklin Roosevelt, and in the small European state, Sweden, when Swedish Social Democratic Labour Party took the office, won the election, and in 1932 formed the government. So these social reforms, social security reforms, which were made before the Second World War in Sweden, we can consider as the beginning of the welfare state in reality. And then we have, of course, Second World War, and after the Second World War, the years 50s, 60s, 70s. This means that the 6th, 7th, and 8th decenniums, 50s, 60s, and 70s, it is the golden age of the welfare state. But as to talk about passive social policy, which meant that social benefits were the core of the system. That's why it is called passive. And now we shall talk later about the active social policy, about the present welfare state. But this welfare state of 50s, 60s, 70s, nevertheless, is called the golden age of the welfare state. The golden age of the welfare state. I shall give you one only example of Swedish redistribution of public expenditure compared to GDP. So 67%, it is a world record for the economy, for the private sector economy, with social security and with all public expenditure in the country. So 67%. Now we have, for instance, in Western European countries, we have more than 40%, and in Lithuania, in my country, for instance, less than 40, 30. We shall talk about that. But it means that welfare state is based on public expenditure very much, and on redistribution as such. So the history means that we had the golden age in the 70s, And then it was retreat from the welfare state. The last decade of 20th century, it was neoliberalism and globalization era. And I think some of you who lived then remember what general policies were followed in world economics and social spheres. So it is neoliberalism and globalization were very strong in the last decade of 20th century. And now it was talked that we had silver age of welfare state, silver welfare state age, and at present maybe it is possible to talk about bronze age, because there is some retreat from the left to the right. There is because retreat. When I asked one Swedish journalist how much you retreated from the former welfare state, of course, it is difficult to quantify it, but he answered that maybe by 1/3. So this means that 2/3 are still there. So the basics, the fundamentals are still there, but it is some retreat, some abandoning of former positions. And of course, we have now military expenditure as a very important element, and there are many obstacles and hindrances to the development of welfare state at the present time. So, if to talk what I talked about these models, so. It is very interesting to notice that in the beginning we had practical development of welfare states, as I mentioned. 70s of the 20th century were the golden age. So until that, we had, of course, economists, sociologists who pointed to one or another element, but there was no general theory as such about welfare state models. And the first theoretical insight, the first theoretical generalization of welfare states, of welfare state methodology was made by English sociologist Richard Titmuss in the 70s. But the father of the discipline of welfare states typology, the father of the discipline, is considered Danish sociologist and political scientist, Professor Gösta Esping Andersen. Gösta Esping Andersen and his famous book, The Three Worlds of Welfare Capitalism, which was published in 1990. In 1990, exactly in this year, 1990. So we see it is the beginning of the neoliberal era, but we have the book in which are used indicators and measurements of the earlier welfare states of 70s and 80s, and mainly of 80s. And for instance, such important indicator of welfare state as decommodification index is from 1980, 1980. So what is common between Richard Titmuss and Gösta Esping Andersen? Richard Titmuss didn't point to exactly to the countries which had one or another model, because there is no pure model, static model of welfare state. It is necessary to speak about dialectical models, about in time and in space models, the policies moving and changing all the time, and having additional elements, not only the main elements which differ them from the others. Static model is the pure model used for understanding. So I shall begin with the static models, and then we shall go maybe more to dialectical. And static model models were made by Richard Titmuss, and he said that there are three main models. there is residual marginal model. In the middle, there is industrial achievement model. And the third model is redistributive universal comprehensive model. 3 models. So Gösta Esping Andersen showed the countries qualitatively and quantitatively exactly which point to these models. And he have made 3 main groups of these welfare state models. And this and he attributed it not only as sociological advice, but also in political science. And he said that this residual marginal model is liberal model. In the middle, we have this industrial achievement model by Richard Titmuss. It was called corporative Bismarckian, as it was invented by Bismarck. Bismarckian conservative model. And the last model, the most social model, it is universal in social democratic, redistributive, comprehensive model. So there are various terms to point to these models, but the essence is of these 3 models, which were made by Richard Titmuss and Gösta Esping Andersen. So I'm repeating once more: liberal marginal welfare state model, corporative Bismarckian conservative welfare model, and institutional redistributive universal social democratic model. So these 3 models, we have these main 3 models of welfare states in the Western world. And it is possible to say that they have not only structural differences, corporative differences, structural, and it is possible to say not only qualitative differences, but also quantitative differences, which were calculated by Danish, by me mentioned, so Danish sociologist and political science, Gösta Esping Andersen. Decommodification index, quantitative indicator. So this methodics of calculate decommodification index is put in this his famous book, The 3 Worlds of Welfare Capitalism. If you want to look how it is calculated exactly using old age pensions, disability pensions, and so on, so you may look to this book and you will have the methodics of calculating this index. The conclusion is that these 3 by me now pointed models are differing quantitatively 3 times. Australia, for instance, Anglo-Saxon liberal marginal model had 13 the figure. And in social democratic redistributive institutional model, 39. So in the middle corporative Bismarckian conservative model had 23, 24, 25 figures in the middle. So 39 to 13, it is 3 times. So we have Gösta Esping Andersen presented the states, the welfare states, the countries, which had these quantitative indicators. So the least developed socially was Anglo-Saxon world, of course, United States of America, Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, and Canada. From them, Canada had the best social indicators. If compare this group of countries between themselves, so Anglo-Saxon countries. The middle model, the corporative Bismarckian conservative model. So it was situated in Germany, France, in continental European countries, in general, in Germany, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Austria, and partly Switzerland. So it is continental European countries, and this model is corporative Bismarckian, because Bismarck, of which I mentioned, German Chancellor Otto Bismarck, already in the end of 19th century, was the first time to implement the element, and if liberal marginal Anglo-Saxon model is based on the market as such, so this middle corporative Bismarckian model is based on the labor market. What does it mean? It means that social benefits are depending on the labor market, and they depend on your size of what salaries, of your wages, of what you get in your history, what you got in your history, and on the length of service and length of record of working in Lithuanian it's called stage, the years of serving as a worker. So the record of this. So it depends on the labor, on your participation in the labor market. So, and the third model is this redistributive, institutional, social democratic, comprehensive, universal model, which is the most socially prominent model, and it is, how to say, the most European model, and it is found in the Northern European countries, in Nordic Europe, in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Iceland. So it is Nordic European model. So I repeat once more that the commodification index had enabled the differences also quantitatively between these three models. 39, Sweden was in 1980, 13, Australia was in 1980, and 24, 25, 23 was in Germany, France, in these continental European countries. So, if to talk in brief about these three models, it is possible to say that liberal marginal model is market model. I am repeating. Corporative Bismarckian is labor market model, and institutional redistributive social democratic model is a social rights model. Social rights model. It is mostly socially advanced model. It talks about people's social rights. So social rights, labor market, and market. Social rights, labor market, and market. And what I mentioned about this decommodification index, so what it means, decommodification? Decommodification means decommodify from the market. Decommodify from the market. It means the relation between state, public, and private, and how much to what also quantitative indicator is abandoned market as such. So the ratio, the independence from the market. So decommodification index is really independence of the market. And social rights model, universal social democratic model, is the mostly shown by as an example for this achievement as social rights. Social rights, and having the most the biggest decommodification index. So, and we have what we have. We have these three. So I mentioned European states, these models, which were appointed by Gösta Esping Andersen in 1990. But Later appeared more scientists, more social scientists in social sciences, which were developing the science. And we have very important book by article by Maurizio Ferrera, Italian author, who wrote about South European welfare model. He said that Gösta Esping Andersen didn't point to South Europe as such, as a special, as a unique model. What is the difference? And it was created like a fourth model now from 1996, South European or Mediterranean or Romanic model. It is better to speak Mediterranean or South European, not Romanic, because Greece, such country as Greece is not Romanic country, so it is better to give this term Mediterranean or South European, in which we have Portugal, we have Spain, we have Italy, and we have Greece. So these countries, and to some extent Malta, of course, and Cyprus, but they have many liberal also traits. Some models are very mixed, like, for instance, Switzerland, between Bismarckian and liberal model. So we have this South Europe, which, if to speak shortly, so it is like continental European country, corporative Bismarckian, but together with clientelism. Clientelism is its feature. What is clientelism? You know what it is, of course, very well. Bribes, corruption, nepotism, special rights by more powerful persons, and so on. So what makes efficiency of such model less developed, and it is a hindrance to public administration, to policies. Of course, it is. This is very big obstacle. So we have this Southern European countries, which and their models. One more trait, one more feature. It is that they are more fragmented than German, France, and to the north, countries to the north, who have more consolidated models. So this is fourth model, Southern European Mediterranean model. And the fifth model was found as a minimal welfare state in Eastern Europe, as a minimal welfare state, and it is also was corporative Bismarckian, clientelistic, but post-communism. Full name of it is post-communist, corporative Bismarckian, clientelistic. So Eastern European. But in the beginning, it was believed that it is one model for Eastern Europe, but later it appeared many authors began to search and to define and so on, and they noticed that there are maybe several groups of models in Eastern Europe. So science is developing, and more and more articles, more and more books, monographs, and science is, and we shall see. Also, in the beginning, I believe that in Eastern Europe there is one model, and now we wrote with the Giedrė Svirbutaitė Krutkienė an article to Philosophia Sociologia journal about that it is difficult to speak about the single model of Lithuania, Czech Republic, and Romania. That there are still many differences we can find, and it is difficult to define as. But in general, it is possible. In general, it is possible to speak that Eastern Europe is the fifth model of presently found in social sciences, defined. But it is very general, as it is also general, as I told to you, about Europe as such, that European, it is commonly spoken that it is European social model. There is no, ideologically, it is possible to speak about European social and the achievements of this social. But as you see, there are different groups of countries which adhere to the different models which were presented by Richard Titmus, Gösta Sping-Andersen, and many researchers now who are making research. So what I wanted to point about these welfare state models. So, but another side of the picture is public administration models. How do public administration models correspond to welfare state models? How do they correspond? And now we have the picture that what I talked about the middle corporative Bismarckian conservative model. So we in the beginning for the conference in Ukraine in 2019, and then in the article with Adomas Vincas Rakšnys, the article, The Problem of Establishing Welfare State Models, Their Values and Coherence with the Public Administration Models, in the Klaipėda University journal, scientific journal, Regional Formation and Development Studies by Klaipėda, in 2019, we presented, and before that I mentioned you the conference by me in 2019, that it is possible to talk about condition or prerequisite, but in the beginning we have only presumption, guess, and presupposition. Presumption. It is really very interesting to know, is it really presumption or is it condition and prerequisite? This is the problem. Is it presumption or is it necessary condition? What I mean these public administration models, correspondence to to welfare state models. So I am talking about corporative Bismarckian model, welfare state, which I gave you, the countries and the essence of this model. So in reality, it corresponds logically to hierarchical Weberian public administration model. I think you understand what hierarchy Weberian model means. It means a hierarchical pyramid from up to the down, and with the functions of every bureaucrat in the system. And pyramidal, this hierarchical model, of course, if we look to European states, we shall find that in Germany or France, there is much more hierarchy than Anglo-Saxon countries or Nordic countries. And we make presumption, I guess, I presuppose that hierarchical model is more inherent to more, how to say, it has to has logically coherence, it has to has logical ties, logical relations with corporative Bismarckian model in the continental European countries. So this is my presumption, guess, and presupposition that this model hierarchical is to corporative Bismarckian model. Now, what about liberal marginal model, welfare model, which Anglo-Saxon countries and which you, like living in India, maybe understand more easier? To which model it can correspond in public administration? Of course, it is new public management. And new public management, what it is? New public management is private sector methods in public administration. There are principles of private sector like methods, and there are principles and there are methods in new public management. Principles are competition, quantitative indicators, yes, and many other very grasped indicators which is very easily to measure and to quantify. So new public management uses its principles and concrete methods taken from the private sector, like contracting out, like benchmarking, like priority planning, like quality indicators, ISO 9000, like lean method. It is also a private sector method. So these benchmarking, global budgeting method. So these are private sector methods used in public administration. And of course, if we have new public management, it is more directly corresponds to the liberal marginal model. Why it is marginal model, you may ask? It is because this model creates social exclusion. There are marginal groups, social exclusion, marginal groups, and it is Gini index is bad in these countries, and inequality is big, and so on. This model, but new public management logically corresponds to this liberal marginal model. And what else? The third model, which I mentioned, you welfare model, which is Nordic redistributive social democratic model. So new public governance, the third model, which is very often described now as post-new public management, new public governance. What does it mean? It means openness, transparency, and to define concrete methods, but sometimes it is possible. And of course, this model sounds ideologically and morally and psychologically, it sounds very well with its principles. Principles are very fine, but we need to develop concrete methods how to implement it. And especially those countries which having nepotism, corruption, and so on, they have to develop this new public governance. But I'm saying that logically, it corresponds to a social democratic redistributive universal model. This means that Nordic European countries had this logical relation already in 70s, but this model is called as the most prominent, and it is now called as new public governance. And we can see that there is no contradiction logical if we define like this. We can notice that there is no logical contradiction between new public management and liberal marginal model. There is no contradiction between hierarchical Weberian and corporative Bismarckian model, and there is no contradiction between new public governance and institutional redistributive model. We make only presumption, guess, but we need service and we need serious research. And if somebody is very interested in making such research and even in getting funds for such research, we are, ready to participate in such research. I have, for instance, participated in two research after 2019. These were service Lithuanian Research Council supported project social policy response to the consequences of COVID 2019 crisis. So one where we found some additional elements for maintenance of our presumption. And the second research was Lithuanian Research Council supported on-demand project about non-take-up of social benefits, If somebody is interested in the results of these two surveys, you can write to me, I can answer, and shortly it is prescribed there that this first about COVID, those countries which had more developed social systems, they managed better to counteract COVID epidemics. And for instance, Finland was about among such countries. And Finland is very interesting that even Gösta Esping Andersen in 1980 pointed to Finland that among old age pensioners, it was no poverty in Finland because of social policies development, only 0.4% of poverty in among old age pensioners in Finland. It was in 1980. And in the next our survey, we found that information about social services is very, very important to have for getting these benefits, because some people in Lithuania do not get the right information and they do not know where to apply. But it is a long story about this service. So if you know who wants to finance or who wants to take part in such, we can talk and we can decide about these models. So the main question of this research is it only presumption, logical guess, that there has to be coherence between certain public administration models and welfare models? Is it only presumption? Is it only the guess? Or is it the condition? Is it the prerequisite? Is it necessary condition? Because if we have another ties and another look going that and that various ways, we can have, we think, chaos. We can have a not controlled situation, and you cannot measure, cannot define, cannot even understand what you are doing in politics and administration. Yes, you cannot even understand. So maybe these logical presumptions for between these three public administration models and three main welfare state models is the scientific step to understand better the effectiveness, the efficiency of social systems and of the economy and of social sphere. So this is my presumption, and I want to maybe I see the time that we are lacking the time. I wanted to point, if it is necessary, I can answer to the questions about Lithuanian system, my country's system. But I want now to add to finish with this, and maybe you have some questions. So I stand for this. Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you so much for this wonderful session. So I have some questions here. So shall I ask the questions?
Yes, you please.
So, shall I ask the questions now, or else I will send the mail?
Better by mail, but maybe it's possible some of them now, maybe.
Just now have us 4 or 5 questions only.
4 or 5. So please now then.
Okay, great. So again, my first question: how will welfare state models evolve to address growing income inequality in the next decade?
Very, very bad hearing. Once more, repeat, please.
Yeah, sure. How will welfare state models evolve to
verify more or less, yes.
To address growing income inequality in the next decade?
very, very bad understanding.
Okay, just wait. I will put in the chat box. Just wait.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
How will welfare state models evolve to address growing income in the next decade? Yes. Uh, uh, Inequality is welfare states. One of objectives is reducing of inequality. And if we adhere more to the corporative Bismarckian motion, because we have to look to state social insurance and to its relation to private social insurance, and we have to look also to social support system. Is it more privatized or is it left for state and non-governmental organizations? If we get more privatization in social insurance and social assistance, which is sometimes called social station, this, how to say, ratio between state and private has to be maintained. More privatization gets more inequality. It is shown by Lithuanian example, by many other, and even economic development. It does not by itself diminish social inequality, because, for instance, Eastern Asian countries, we can take for example, or my country, Lithuania. We have for 30 years the level of poverty at 20% of the country population. And it not diminished. We had big growths of economic development. We had 8 and 9 and 10% per year of GDP growth. And we still have this poverty at 20. So social security, what I am talking, so why I was talking so much about, well, that methodological fundamental for everything is social protection and social security for the welfare state. Why Eastern Asian countries are not called very often welfare states? Because they have very big GDP, they have very well developed cultural policy, they have health, they have education systems well developed. But their social security, social protection is least developed. And this is the fundamental for Gösta Esping Andersen for definition of welfare state and for fighting with social inequality as such. Social inequality has the problem addresses let's say there is such by Dutch sociologists, there is quadrant of economic social security, which means income, yes, income, then social inclusion, social cohesion, and social empowerment. So this income can be by social inclusion, I repeat, social cohesion and social empowerment. And in the beginning, I talked about passive social policies. So this golden age of welfare state, there were much more equality then. But it was, at this time, such logic was, and passive social benefits enabled to reach. Now they do not enable to reach less inequality. And now we speak about active social policy, which means empowerment. For instance, invalid, disabled person and working, yes, and having a job and working, or social services at social house stationary, or social services at home for the person, yes, when the social worker comes to home and helps him and he feels more active and responsible for himself and so on. So all these measures, such measures of active social society, I said that social inclusion, social cohesion, and social and social empowerment is the present now. It is a long story. I can speak here very much. Of course, you want to ask about these indexes as Gini index and as other indexes. Of course, we have to fight with this by social protection, social security policies and administration. Yes, please.
Yeah, sure.
Second question.
So, thanks for the answer. The next question. Shall I put the chat box, sir?
Yes, you maybe put also.
Yeah.
Yes. Will future public administration systems rely more on AI? And what else? On AI. Yes, I have read the last words, not on AI. Yes, of course, it will be introduced, these elements. And for instance, which I gave social services, yes, as such. So maybe robotics already now, but for instance, in Eastern Asia, robotics, robots, and so on can help elderly people at home and so on. So for social services, it is very, how to say, possible to implement many of this robotics and AI. But what to say that social worker sometimes is not only technical, how to say, instrument. Social worker as a man or woman who comes to elderly at home, you need psychological help sometimes. You need or you come with the bills and you drop the bag to the client, let's say, and you go out, or do you have a longer talk with your social client, a longer talk, a longer help? Maybe it means that satisfaction with social services is very necessary, not quantitatively only, but also qualitatively. The relation between man and between man and man, between woman and woman. So it is necessary, this relation. So I do not guess that all social services will go to robotics and AI. Some people's how to say humanistic relation will be necessary at this time also. Yes.
Yeah.
The third
The next
question. How will governments redesign social security to support aging populations in the future? Here it has to be taken silver economics. Maybe it is possible to say, there are bad economics, for instance, black economy, gray economy, red economy. Yes, these are bad economies. And we have good economies. We have green economy, we have blue economy, and we have silver economy. And if to talk about this, the last silver economy, so it has to be developed in all spectrum, this silver economics. What is not happening right now? For instance, in Lithuania, the bank sections are closed, and the older people do not know how to use computer, yes, and they are out of the system, and they cannot go simply to bank and to talk, yes, and to make the operations orally. Yes, and this is the problem. Was also the problem with the buses, that when you enter the bus and you pay the ticket, in the beginning it was made very, if you do not see, you need glasses and so on, and it's difficult for many old people to see. So it was very difficult to even to pay for the ticket. And now it is made better. Now they changed the system. But I am saying that it is one example is such, another is another. And many examples are showing that this, how to say, market situation is moving towards younger, middle-aged and younger people. And it is a very bad tendency that we do not follow this silver economy. That because silver economy also has its products, its services, and these old people maybe with less money, but they can also pay. And you have to be in relation to older people. So I am talking about silver economy as the main provider of social security and of everything for these people. So yes, please, the next question.
Yeah, sure. Just wait.
What role will citizen participation play in shaping future government? The role of citizen participation. Participation, yes, it's how to say, the essence of democratic systems. Yes, and if you do not participate, you have more chance to get excluded, be outside the system, and not to use its benefits and so on. So participation, of course, is must be enhanced, and but it is easy to say to enhance, but how to make it practically? Yes, to participate, because in party elections, for instance, you see that in many countries there is a decline of participation in party elections, and we have this problem too. But when, of course, it is the people feeling the difference, the shape to the more important situation, so they come to this election. But election is not only the one of participation. There are other forms of non-governmental organizations, of informing people. I can say that the best example is also in Scandinavia, in these Nordic countries. If you look to the map, these countries better, how to say, coincide with this participation. Participation is, of course, it is, some people consider it like very psychological, how to say, element. But I think that it is structural political. If your political system is declining in general, so you cannot wait for participation. Why it is declining? Because of losing authority by politicians, by leaders. We have, of course, to elect right people, right persons who have authority, who are morally and psychologically well fit for leadership and so on. So if we elect, let's say, sometimes people with judgment, with criminal even, so what to expect? And even international, even these situations sometimes also point that the situation is, how to say, declining. And here, yes, it is. I guess that it will be one of the most important problems, how to have balance with this participation. Of course, there are other countries like Switzerland, for instance. Referendums you have, but it is very special for this country. Not every country can organize a referendum for every single question. It depends on the culture of the nation, of the people who are living in this country. India is democratic country, so you have your own experiences, I think, and many examples which show the participation of certain groups of certain people who still point that you can move this direction. But of course, there are many bad examples, and people often talk more about bad examples, and so on. But in Lithuania, we have this problem too. Yes, we have this problem too of participation. Yes.
Okay, great. So, okay, my last question.
Will climate change foster sustainability as a cause? Will climate change? Yeah, so climate change. Sometimes there are now authors who point to eco-social welfare state, new definition of present reachable welfare state, eco-social welfare state. But of course, welfare states typology and the essence goes into sustainability topics, into sustainability theme. Of course, because environment, this sustainability. What is sustainability? Sustainability is, to my definition, when it is plus. You have axis. Yes, you have the line, and you have the point, the moving the vector to plus. If you have plus, you are sustainable. If you have minus, you are unsustainable. What is unsustainable? What is this minus? For instance, poverty. Is it? Yes, it is unsustainable. Poverty, it is unsustainable. It is minus. Plants and animals, for instance, if the sort of animal or plant, if certain animal or plant is disappearing, if it disappeared, there is no such plant or animal anymore. So of course it is minus. It is minus for flora and fauna. It is minus. So I define this sustainability very simply. Is it plus or it is minus? But it is the problem, what? How much of this plus can be? How much? For instance, Europe had developed only several percent during 15 last years economically, GDP. Only several percent, but it was plus. America developed several, I think 39% or how approximately, so much more than Europe economically. So it is also plus. And Eastern Asia, yes, China developed hundreds of percentage, hundreds. And so what is now? And who is suggesting green course, Green Deal? Europe was first to begin with the Green Deal. So we lose competitiveness. Europeans are losing competitiveness. They are developing many investments. Of course, Green Deal is not only bad investments. Of course, there are very, very good investments, very for plus investments and so on. But if you have big investments in this green, and if some countries like China or America do not follow Green Deal, do not follow ecological policies and so on, so they are more competitive economically, and they can. So if to talk about purely about sustainability, you have Europe, of course, like plus. but I am pointing you to the problems that make for compare. If there is no agreement between world countries, so everybody will one like this, one like this, so it will be chaos. This what I told about conditions and presumptions about these models. So there has to be some general worldwide governance of these problems, of not leaving some countries behind who have chosen, for instance, more humanistic or more ecological development. So the sustainability, of course, sustainability problem is how to say, there are three aspects of sustainability. There is economic sustainability, there is social sustainability, and there is environmental sustainability. So we can talk about each separately, but it is not possible under sustainability emblem. It is not possible to talk separately. We have to talk unitely: economical, social, and environmental. And I am my today's presentation was more devoted to social sustainability as such, which is very difficult to achieve. Of course, poverty as such, I said you, it politicians try, let's say one time, try to fight against it. They do not succeed, and they leave this problem and go further from this problem. And this is not solved. It is not solved. It is how to say, a permanent problem which is not solved. I gave you Lithuanian example. We had very good periods of economic development, and this poverty doesn't disappear. And this means that social security, social development in Lithuania was lagging behind economic development. What is also exactly the same what is in Eastern Asian countries now. The main aim is economy, and that's all, and you are leaving behind social development and environmental development. So this is the, and I pointed to this liberal marginal model, that it is also very much, how to say, having these bad elements. Yes. Yes, the last question.
Yeah, that's all. So the question is over from my side. So thank you for the useful answers. They have been really helpful in clarifying the topic. I hope the participants were able to follow along and understand the key points you shared. So your insights have certainly added value to the session. So on behalf of all of us here today, it's my absolute honor and privilege to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Arvydas for taking the time to share his deep knowledge and invaluable insights with us. Sir, your talk today on welfare typology and public administration models has not only enlightened us, but also inspired us to think critically about the evolving structures of governance and social policy. Your vast experience, scholarly contributions, and international perspectives have given us a broader understanding of the challenges and opportunities in shaping effective public administration. So, we are truly grateful for the wisdom you have impacted and for reminding us of the profound impact that thoughtful policy and governance can have on societal well-being. So thank you once again, Professor Arvydas, for your time, your passion, and your continued dedication to public services and education. We hope this marks the beginning of many more such enriching interactions. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, the listeners and the organizers, very much.
Sure,
Good
sir.
luck
And
to
just
you.
wait, please, sir, just wait for the few minutes. Sir, can you able to see the virtual memento?
Yes, I see.
Yeah, great. So on behalf of Mastering Up, we present this virtual memento as a tribute to our guest speaker today, Mr. Arvydas. Your insightful contributions have enriched our knowledge and inspired us profoundly. This token of appreciation symbolizes our gratitude for your expertise and dedication. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us and shaping our understanding in profound ways. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Definitely, we will meet in future collaboration and future sessions also.
Thank you.
Sure, sir.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye, sir. Thank you, sir.